So there's a specific kind of silence that happens when your kids stop talking to you. It's loud. It's not dramatic. It's just super, super empty. And that empty feels heavier than any scream ever could. I was living in my studio apartment and I was super grateful. It was just a studio. My bed was literally in the living room. I had no kitchen, just my little coffee pot. Just me and my phone. My kids were only 13 and 14, and my oldest son was living on his own. Old enough to understand, but too young to carry it. Some people say I didn't fight, and why didn't I fight harder? But let me explain something. Every time I fought, they paid. Every time they wanted to see me, they got questioned. When they texted me, there were time limits. If they laughed too much, if they seemed too happy, there were consequences. So I had a choice: fight for access, or I could fight for their peace. And if you know me, I fight. But this time, I decided to fight quietly. I texted them every single day. I showed up at every one of their games. Most of the time, I was ignored. That cut like a knife. People would say, "Why do you go? You always feel worse after." I just simply said, I will show up for my kids. They were kids. I'm the adult. Even if I got nothing back. Good morning. I love you. I'm proud of you. I called even when I knew they couldn't answer because I just wanted them to see the missed call. I wanted my kids to know Mom didn't disappear. Mom didn't give up. And I didn't, but I did break. There were nights I would cry so hard I couldn't breathe. You know that kind of cry? The one that makes your chest hurt? I would sit on the floor because the bed felt too big and the studio felt way too small. It was already small. And I kept thinking, how did I go from a thriving company to this? Solid Hip Hop had been closed since February 2020. It was now September 2021. 2 years. 2 years of unraveling. Then my brother said something that changed everything. I was venting. I was angry. I was sad. I was exhausted. And he said, "I know you hate that this is happening, but you have no money. You have no stability right now. Be grateful your kids aren't struggling." I didn't want to hear that. It honestly felt like a knife. But it was the truth. And I thank him for that now. He handed me $1,000 to get into that first apartment. I left that part out. And at that time, I felt like someone just handed me oxygen. I had listed my studio mirrors for sale. He bought them. He didn't need mirrors. He was buying my dignity. And he was protecting my pride. And I want to tell him thank you. And that moment shifted me. Instead of thinking they took my kids from me, I started thinking my kids are safe while I rebuild. That narrative change literally saved me. But I was still super, super depressed. I needed something creative, something hard, something that made me feel capable again. So I started doing karaoke. I was terrified to sing out loud. And this is the funny part. I chose Forgot About Dre by Eminem and Dr. Dre, one of the hardest rap songs you can sing. I wore a hoodie with a hat. I didn't talk to anyone. I went up. I rapped every single word. I didn't miss a beat. Then I left. Every single week, I would do a new song, and it became my therapy. I thought I can still master something. I can still show up. I can still perform. And it reminded me of my kids because we used to rap that song together. And for 3 minutes on that stage, I wasn't a woman who lost everything. I was a performer again. Then one day, the phone rang. Hey, coach, Angel Stadium rep here. I just moved to SoFi Stadium. We have the LA Bowl. You're amazing at these shows. Do you want it? My heart literally stopped. I said, how much? He said, $25,000. $25,000, I said. I just said yes before I thought. I hung up. I jumped around my tiny apartment like, what? Then I froze. I thought, I only have 10 dancers in a park. If each pays $200, that's only $2,000. I need 23,000 more. I had no website, no marketing, no social media presence. I wasn't even posting because I was embarrassed of my life. I called my mom and she said, how are you going to get that amount of money and that amount of dancers in only 3 months? Then something came out deeper than fear. I said, I don't know, but I will. I joined all these mom Facebook groups and the comments, she's a scam, that's fake, that's not real. And you know what? The old me would have folded, but this new version of me had nothing to lose. So I kept posting. I kept replying. I kept showing up. I would drive to fields, hand out flyers. When you name it, I did it. And in 1 month, I had over 180 kids in just 1 month. And here's the part that shocked me. It wasn't the number of kids. It was that I did it. I proved to myself that I wasn't done. I only made $5,000, okay? Which to some people isn't a lot. But to me at that time, that was 6 months of rent, you guys. That was food. That was survival. I thought, this is it. This is how I get back. This is how I reopen. This is how I rebuild. This is how I get my kids back. I thought the LA Bowl was my comeback story. I didn't know. It was the beginning of another breakdown. But it also was the moment I finally saw the light. And that story is next week. If you're in a season where it looks like you lost everything, maybe you're not losing. Maybe you're being repositioned. We dance out these emotions, you guys, on the Iconic Dance app. Workouts are free right now. New workouts drop every Friday. Download the Iconic Dance app. Now listen, the next part sucked. And trust me, there's no way in hell I could have ever planned for this one. I'll see you next week. All the way up. Lift straight up. We're working the tip of our shoulders here, ladies. Biceps to the front. Sorry about the hair flip. It was driving me nuts.